Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. Level Up Podcast.
Level up, level up. So today, what are we talking about? We're going to talk about this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. We're going to talk about the Mets. Well, as you already know, did the All-Star game already happen?
Yeah,
it happened. Yes, we're back with...
We're back from the All-Star break. First games back was yesterday, Friday.
Yeah. With the loss.
Yeah.
But they won today.
They won today against Miami. These are games, teams like Miami, you have to win those series.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
Coming down to the stretch. Like we're past the All-Star break. This is like crunch time. It's time to get serious. And especially in the National League, so many teams are in the same kind of spot that the Mets are in terms of like the record and their standings. There's like 5 teams with 50 wins right now, including the Mets. So like they need to keep their success going in order to hold down that wildcard spot, because these other teams are not going to make it easy. Like San Diego, I know that they're pretty much like a 50-win team, but they're a great team. They have a great roster. You know what I mean? So does the Cardinals and the Arizona.
Yeah, and I think the Mets did a pretty good job in the first half where they beat the Nationals. They beat the Marlins.
Yeah.
They split the series with the Braves, and they lost obviously against the Philadelphia
Phillies.
But it's hard. I think the Mets are in probably one of the toughest divisions with Acuna Jr. is not with the Braves, but the Braves have historically been like a second half team.
Yeah.
And then the Philadelphia Phillies, they've just continued like this momentum from last year. They're playing in an elite level. Yeah. So just the fact that they're in a playoff berth is something that I'm looking forward to for the second half.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good things that we saw towards the second half of the first half. Especially with them getting their bats. You know, and happy that they're kind of getting new acquisitions with the bullpen a little bit.
Yeah.
Try to build that up. Because I think they were just relying heavily deep with Edwin Diaz, and now that I forgot, was it Smith that got that?
Drew Smith.
That tore his elbow. Now he was a big help.
Yeah.
They're gonna need that, especially when we're playing against these really good teams. Especially now, with the Yankees coming up and the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tough stretch. This is gonna probably kind of dictate us if we're just going to be a playoff team, or maybe we'll get closer to the Phillies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, where they are right now and compared to where they were last time we talked about them, I'm super stoked, because I didn't think that they would be in such a good position to they're right now, they're in the second spot for the wild card, not even the third. They had a great month of June and July to get them up, and contributions from Vientos and Iglesias have been monumental. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
JD Martinez has been batting well, not so much recently, but throughout that stretch, June and early July. Lindor has been phenomenal. Nimmo has been phenomenal. McNeil is still struggling, but it's okay because all these other guys are making contributions.
Yeah,
and he's still working on it.
And he had a breakout performance, having 2 home runs the last game.
Yeah.
Well, although they lost, but we do. From the conversation that we had last video, I think we have to give a little bit more credit to a lot of the teams. The Braves have been playing better. The Cardinals are in a win now mode, right? Because Arenado and then Goldschmidt, those guys aren't getting younger.
Right.
They're in a win, and then the Diamondbacks are winning like crazy now.
Yeah.
And it's there's a lot of good teams, so it's not going to be easy for the Mets. I think they need to continue to build upon their youth.
Yeah.
I know they have a lot of great players in the AAA. I'm not sure if they're going to come up or stuff.
Yeah.
But Francisco Lindor has been a key contributor, which has been pretty awesome. Brandon Nimmo has been pretty good. Alonso has been he's been okay.
Yeah.
Marte, he's been injured, but hopefully he comes back in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like we said, in the beginning, their lineup is dangerous.
Yeah.
And now that they're hitting, we're kind of seeing what we were expecting.
Yeah.
It's just we need Kodai Zinga back,
Oh,
and we need.
That would be that would be great. Like, you know what I mean, to have another starting pitcher in the lineup that Mendoza can use, but also like I think like Alvarez coming back like as a catcher, like, and him like helping out the pitchers, like. The commentators speak about it all the time, like, oh, Alvarez wants him to, like, go up a little bit more or down. Like, he has that experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he can tell the pitcher what he wants to do.
And he has that, like, I want to say cockiness, but he has kind of, like, that flair.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, he's confident in himself.
Yeah.
And he knows, like, even if he makes a mistake, he knows that, it's okay. You know? And it's kind of... it's different for like players that are young.
Yeah.
He has that it factor.
Yeah.
Which
I think he had also like his baseball IQ. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he understands what's going on and what needs to be done in order to like get these guys out. Yeah,
and I'm super excited to watch the series against the Braves because historically the Braves have had our number.
Yeah.
But the Braves aren't as good as they were, like when they won the World Series,
right,
pretty much.
For sure.
If the Mets can find a way to win that series at home, dude, that get a little bit closer.
Yeah.
If they can find a way to get the 1 seed in the wild card, this next stretch is going to be pretty interesting.
The Braves are only 4 games ahead of the Mets right now, so like. That's very possible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For Atlanta to go into a little slump, hopefully.
But the only sport that you can be horrible in 1 month and win the World Series in the next couple, like in October, is baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that, like, especially with the Mets having like probably the worst first month.
Oh my
And now
God.
like, they're playing so much better.
Yeah.
But talking about having the worst summer league and then started to break out a little bit. Bronny James.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it was bound to happen, wasn't it? Like I'm pretty sure he was gonna have a good game at some point. I mean, does it really mean anything?
Well, I guess the summer league is more like the introduction of the prospects and the D League players.
Yeah.
And just seeing if you can have like a player break out and maybe have a contribution with the professionals.
I mean, my opinion.
Obviously, I meant like the varsity squad, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, with the summer league and stuff, like that's an opportunity for the coaches to see like the guys that are like who are playing well on a consistent basis. Those are the guys that you want in your lineup, not like Bronny James' instance where like he's kind of like been shut out a little bit and then like he has had one really really good game.
Well,
I haven't been watching too much of the summer league.
Yeah.
I never really do, but kudos to Bronny James for making the Lakers and stuff like that. But
he's gonna play. It's just
I'm sure he will. But like the question is, how much of a contribution is he gonna make?
Yeah,
is he gonna be a liability or?
I think he just hit the nail off the coffin. I think he's going to play. It's just like, is he going to be a rotational player or is he just going to be somebody that's going to ride the bench?
Right.
He's still young. If he does that, who cares?
Yeah. Even if he doesn't play this season, it's not like he's a failure. There's many players that you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Across the league, they ride the bench a little bit. Especially when you have superstars like LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the court.
Yeah, I've only been watching a little bit. I think the Knicks have like a center that was playing overseas in Barcelona. He's playing in the summer league and he's been playing really good.
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend to know his last name, but he's looking pretty dynamic. But I think they were playing today against the Atlanta Hawks. But Atlanta Hawks obviously got the first round pick, so it's going to be interesting.
I know for the Nets perspective, like for the summer league at least, like Jalen Wilson, I think he was a rookie last year. Maybe the year before that, but he got his first contract, like official contract with the Nets, like to like play with them and stuff last year, and he played well. But he's been killing it this year in the summer league, so that's good to see.
Before you go, do you want to talk about a little bit of? I know it's super early, but for the Giants, do you have any? Do you have any expectations once they go to mandatory training camp? Like, what do you want to see?
Okay, so. this offense is very different from last year.
Very different. And Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Hard Knocks. You know, a lot of teams. Like for me, watching Hard Knocks with the Jets, you know, they don't want that show.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, the Giants are kind of like letting all this stuff get out there, which I kind of like. You know what I mean? They're not afraid to show it with the behind the scenes stuff and like all the conversation that goes on. These are real conversations. You know what I mean? And like, if you can't just be like, oh, I love Saquon. Saquon's a fan favorite. We're gonna keep him. You know what I mean? Like that's not how it goes.
Did you see the video of the Saquon Barkley?
Yep. When he was talking to I honestly thought it was. People are making kind of a big deal about it. Like he got slighted. I really don't think that he did. He got slighted in any way. I thought it was a very, you know, like I don't know, for lack of a better word, nice conversation between those two. It was respectable. Like you know, it might have just been like kind of like. One thing I didn't really, maybe I took issue with was Joe Shane asked me if Saquon Barkley would give them their word that they would come back. And honestly, like I don't really see too much of a big deal with that because like he allowed him like go see the market, see what they're offering you, and then come back to us and see if we can match it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was totally a respectful way to go about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people like to blow things up, and they're just like, "Oh, Joe Shane needs to take one." Like he was like, "Oh, why would you even ask that to give him your word?" Like you know what I mean? You just let him go. But like it's perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I think it's cool. Hard Knocks, obviously. It's but for me, it's all about the quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. You gave the extension to the quarterback. You lost one of your dynamic playmakers, and you drafted a playmaker. I think drafting like a wide receiver, you have that wide receiver for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
It's so valuable.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that they're on the same page pretty much. And the Giants have to work on their offensive line. I don't know what their acquisitions were.
So. Like that was one thing that it's also like going back to last year that's different. Like, you know what I mean? They did retool it quite a bit. They have depth at both tackle and guard positions now. They have players that have like real game experience, and so now it's different in that it's pretty much Daniel Jones. Like we got you your playmaker. Yeah, Saquon's not there anymore, but like we beefed up your offensive line a little bit, and like you have guys like. Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, like you know what I mean? That's not the best group in the world, but that's something that you should be able to score points with. Yeah. And move the ball down the field.
Yeah, and I think it kind of gives Daniel Jones more of an option to run because I felt like that was the time when he would thrive. Yeah. Like, when he would go out of the pocket and, either run or do the slant passes. I think that would be beneficial for him. I'm not sure who's going to be fighting for the running back position.
So they have the passing game. I'm pretty sure they're gonna figure out somebody to pass it to. Yeah. But for the running game, they have to get it going with Devin Singletary because that's the only acquisition they had.
Oh, that's a nice acquisition.
Yes, but like he is. Like he has a lot of mileage, you know what I mean? And he was in the past. He's always been like 3 down back. Like he never really comes out. Yeah. And now he's getting like later in his years. I hope that he can be durable throughout the season, and I hope that he can be effective. I hope it's not 3 yards per carry he's averaging. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think there's still you can always pick up a running back.
That's true. But yeah, we'll see. I just hope that the ground game isn't totally evaporated because Saquon's not there.
Yeah, but I think as a fantasy perspective, there's a lot of interesting prospects. Yeah. And I think later on we'll go into more detail about video of a fantasy perspective. Yeah. I know last year we were pretty good. Yeah.
So for the Jets side of it, like what's kind of one thing that like you kind of want to look for?
Well, I think for the Jets, they're obviously in a great position, right? Yeah. They have one of the best, Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams.
For the most part, they're entering the season healthy, right?
Well, yes. Okay. And their main flaw was just like the Giants' offensive line. That was the main priority. Most of the acquisitions were from the offensive line. Are they old? Are there question marks with their health? Yes, but what are they doing? They're kind of filling the gaps with some
Tyron Smith is a Pro Bowl man. Like, I want him on my.
I think they're still they're going to try to fill some positions. Like I think they got one acquisition of this guy from what's the other league? The league below. No, the league below the NFL.
Oh.
I forgot. But the point is, they got great offensive line players, but they're also building the depth, which they needed because that was the main flaw, and it ruined pretty much everything. Even if Aaron Rodgers played last year, the offensive line was so bad where I wouldn't even wanted him to, obviously I would have wanted him to play, but, it just wouldn't be like a good, it wouldn't be good. Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be the Aaron Rodgers where we want him to be, being like 39 years old, whatever.
For sure.
And then it's pretty much however Aaron Rodgers plays is how we're gonna take it. If Aaron Rodgers plays, we're a playoff team. If Aaron Rodgers has a great season, maybe Super Bowl. For me as a Jets fan, we haven't made it since 2010, which is over it's 14 like 12, 13 years. They got to make the playoffs. They have to. Breece Hall is probably ranked one of the top 3 running backs. You have Sauce Gardner, and now you have Mike Williams. Those are two different wide receivers.
I think that move was so underrated. Like nobody's really talking about that. The fact that you have Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams.
Yeah, even like with like Alan Lazard, he was supposed to be our big acquisition, and then now they're contemplating on him not even making the rotation. That's how kind of like.
But that's a good problem to have. To have such depth at the wide receiver spot.
And obviously when you have Aaron Rodgers, there's always going to be stories. Him talking about how he wants to reunite with Devontae Adams. I don't know if that's possible. We'll just wait and see. But I like Conklin.
I believe so.
I think he's pretty good. It's just they built it so good. I think this is probably more of a detriment to Joe Douglas. How he's an offensive line guy. So this is his make or break year pretty much. So I'm really hoping for him. And then Coach Shala, now that they given him all the resources, he can't make more mistakes, dude. It's his moment.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is this is going to be a great year for Sala to
it's a make or break year.
It is a make or break year for him. I agree. And but I do think that he's going to be successful.
I hope so too, because he's a player's coach. And how players play with player coaches.
For sure.
Like with Rex Ryan, with Herman Edwards. It's pretty much like most of the Jets coaches. They like to play. They like to play for players coaches. Absolutely. I would love to have Rex Ryan, but it is what it is.
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. But thank you for listening, guys. We appreciate it. Next week we'll kind of actually, I think next week we're kind of going to be big into Deadpool because we're super stoked about that.
We're going to talk about that, and we're also going to give a little bit more of a House of Dragon update too.
Oh yeah.
So stay tuned. Yeah, more stuff coming out. There's other things. The Boys are coming out soon. We have a lot coming out.
Yeah, we got a lot of yeah, exactly. So stay tuned. Leave us a comment, but most importantly, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.